Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Warren from the Paladin Journal, and today we're going to be talking about some of the recent reveals from Games Workshop. Actually, they were revealed yesterday, and this is going to be my React video for that. And this is going to be a bit different from the React videos that I usually do. This is going to be more like the ones I did last year for the Blood Angels reveals for Warhammer 40,000. And the reason I say that is because this is going to be, I'm just going to say this up front, this is going to be a rant video because I am pissed the fuck off and I really need to get this off my chest. First things first, however, I do want to say that these recent model reveals for the Space Wolves, I think they're absolutely gorgeous. They are top tier, 10/10, no notes, absolutely in any shape or form. However, I hate what these reveals represent, and it's not something that I was expecting. And I'm happy that it's not what I was expecting. Just to be clear about that. But it's like a knife, like somebody knifes you and then twists a knife in your guts and just mocks you and then slaps you and then laughs at you and then just walks away. Just leaving you battered, bruised, dead and dying or whatever. You know, yes, I'm being very hyperbolic, but this stuff needs to be said because I'm extremely disappointed by what these reveals represent. Because what it represents is that Games Workshop is lazy, Games Workshop doesn't care, and they're just doing whatever the hell they want to do. This is once again, we are back to all the nonsense that happened with Primaris, with the outlandish models they revealed ages ago, like the suppressors, and just a few years ago the Desolation Marines and all of that nonsense. And I'm just like done with that kind of BS, because we know that Games Workshop can do so much better. The proof is right in front of our eyes for that. But just like it's it's just too, like, anger inducing, because, like, just why? And it's I'm just gonna get into that right now with the first reveal that we're gonna see, and that is this. So on the left here on your screen, you're seeing Commander Dante of the Blood Angels, and then on opposite him is Logan Grimnar, the chapter master of the Space Wolves. He's the High King of Fenris, the guy who leads the entire chapter, and essentially he's Primarch Lehman Russ's successor, right? So here's the thing. Look at that model. Check out his bling. You see that axe that he's holding? It's a really famous axe in lore for the Space Wolves. It used to be a demon weapon or something, and essentially Logan Grimnard took it from some this big, corn champion or whatever, and the librarians of the chapter, the rune priests, they essentially purified that power axe, and now he uses it as his own weapon of choice. Look at it. That axe, it's exuding character. Now look at Dante's axe. I'm kind of fine with that axe. Like, overall, I like how Dante looks, but we're gonna get into this kind of stuff, right? Because you see the kind of axe that Logan Grimnar is using. It looks fancy. It looks powerful. It evokes the lore in a very strong way. Now you look at the axe that Dante is holding, and it's pretty plain. The only real ornamentation that you can see on the blade is just the skull and the wings on at the back of it. That's like, yeah, that's not good at all. And then you look at Logan's armor. You see that huge wolf that's on his shin pad of his Terminator armor? That is his own personal symbol. He is the High King of Fenris. That is his rune. That is his flag. And it says Logan or Grimnar right there below Wolf. Look at the wolf pelt. It gives him an aura. He has a cloak. Yeah, the wolf pelt, sorry. He doesn't have a cloak, he has a wolf pelt. Yeah. That thing is so huge. It's oversized. And it's just like, it's screaming, yes, this is Warhammer 40,000 at its core. This is what Warhammer 40,000 is supposed to be about. The Space Wolves, they're the biggest and the baddest of all the Space Marine chapters. You know, it evokes all that over, like, this extra kind of aesthetic to the Space Wolves, right? Now you look at Dante. What does he have? Just the gemmed uh, wings on his uh, chest piece. He has the halo above his head. That's it. Just a random skull and wings on his belt buckle. And then yeah, you know, his jetpack has those stupid small wings. Yeah, that's like that is not good at all. In comparison, it's not good at all. And like on his own, in context, he's fine. He's a pretty damn good sculpt. But you compare him to Logan Grimnar, you compare him to the refresh model for Black Templars, the High Marshal Helbrecht, their chapter master. It kind of pales in comparison. Where is his bling? Why is he not covered in blood drops and the Blood Angels icon everywhere? You know, one of the most evocative images for Blood Angels and the Horus Heresy is the use of this screaming head, and that is something that is it represents something in the lore. Uh, it's part of their internal iconography after Sanguinius took over the Legion when he was found, and he reorganized the revenants into the Blood Angels and everything. And it's part of their arcana, so to speak. It's part of their culture, their traditions. At this point, ancient. If he had those on his knee pads, just imagine how much more amazing he would look. If he had blood drops on his shins, how amazing he would look. Just use the iconography. Like, I don't get why Dante, he comes from a chapter of artisans, right? They are sculptors, they are poets, they are painters, they're artists in every single way. And this is something that was taught to them and ingrained in them by their Primarch. That you have to express yourself. They're all artists. They're all supposed to be like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci and all of that kind of stuff, right? They're supposed to be geniuses at art. But does Dante's armor remind you of that? No, it really doesn't. And it's a huge issue, with this. That's a huge issue in comparison to Logan Grimnar. Now, yes, I know that Dante wasn't released last year with the rest of the Blood Angels refresh. He came like a year early or something. But I think that's also because he was kind of like leaked online or something, and they just had to like get it out because of that. And then you just keep looking at Logan Grimnar. The guy looks huge. He looks like he has a lot of aura, right? That's the new speak that we use these days. Like, dude is badass. He's walking in on somebody and he's just gonna F them up, up and down, left and right, front and backwards. And then he has those two wolves with him. How you do like see what is just going on in that whole model, you know? You look at his tactical rock, it's huge. It's quite possibly the biggest tactical rock that exists in all of 40K right now. Uh, yeah, all of 40K right now. I can't believe how huge that thing is. And then one of his wolves, one of his hunch puppies, has a tactical rock as well, which is like hilarious, but also like it's just so over, and it works because that is what Warhammer 40,000 aesthetics are about. It's everything is so over. We have Russians in winter dress, cosplaying as Imperial Guardsmen. We have these, tidy whitey, like, well, not tidy whitey. We have these like uptight, pseudo British soldiers cosplaying as Imperial Guardsmen. And there's, literal Rambo is in the game, not just as a character model, but as an entire range of miniatures. The Catachan's jungle fighters for Imperial Guard. They're all like that. That's over. That's extra, It's like, that's at the core of 40K. And then it's like, you compare these two, and then it's like, it's not bad, right? Like, Dante is good. Could be better. Now let's move on to the next one, and this is where things really go off the rails. All right. So on the top, what you're seeing are the new Wolfguard Terminators. At the bottom, you have the Death Company, but of course, as we saw last year in my videos, they're not actual Death Company. The actual Death Company, the firstborn Death Company, looks so different from these guys. They have sculpted details all over their body with their weapons and everything. Whereas these guys, they're just the basic actual intercessors with assault intercessors with jump pack with an upgrade sprue attached. And that upgrade sprue, it doesn't give them any fancy details on the armor, just shoulder pads. Really, that's it. Maybe, just a couple weapons here and there, but that's it. But you look at those Wolfguard Terminators, these guys are an actual fresh sculpt. They're not the what you call it. They're not the basic new Terminators with an upgrade sprue. These guys are actually different. You can see that with the shoulder pads, where the Crux Terminatus, instead of a regular skull, it's actual a wolf skull, right? And some of their chest pieces, they also have extra detail. As you can see there, of course, all the heads are completely different, and they have all the extra bling on their armor everywhere. The knives and the pelts in the front, and all of that, and the cruxes on their knee pads. Those also have the wolf skulls. It's like, just why? GW. Why? You went the extra distance with these Wolfguard Terminators. You went the extra distance with the basic intercessors that the Space Wolves are going to get. Their version of intercessors and assault intercessors and everything are the Grey Hunters and the Blood Claws. They are getting unique sculpts. All right? The Blood Angels didn't get that. The Dark Angels didn't get that, and certainly no other chapter has gotten that. Not even the Ultramarines. And we know that they are the big poster boys or whatever of the setting. And here's the Blood Angels Death Company, a basic unit with a crappy upgrade sprue. That's what they are. This is an insult. This is a slap to the face. GW legit thought that this was more interesting than just doing a fresh resculpt of the firstborn Death Company kit. Just and let me tell you right now, there's a guy with a team on the Blood Angels Discord. His team has done an actual resculpting of the Firstborn Death Company as Primaris. Giving them the Mark 10 Tacticus armor and then sculpting all the same details on that armor, whether it's the chest plates or the shins or the knee pads or the shoulder pads or the backpacks or the jump packs or the weapons or everything. It's all legit amazing. People are doing this kind of thing on their own for no money, while GW cannot do that same when they're actually getting paid. Like I said, it's an insult, it's a slap to the face. I am more mad about this now than I was last year, and I didn't think that was possible at all. Here we got some more characters. So on the left, you have the Blood Angels captain, who is fairly decent. He's not amazing, but he's fairly decent. It's good. At the bottom, we have bottom left, we have the new sanguinary priest, which again, that guy is barely a Blood Angel character. the details on his armor are so minimal and so easily interchangeable that you can just like take him and make him another chapter, and wouldn't really make much of a difference there. But you flip that, you look at the Space Wolves. At the top is their Wolf Priest, the senior most Wolf Priest of the chapter. Wolf Priests are basically for the Space Wolves. For those who don't know, Wolf Priests are an amalgamation of Apothecary and Chaplain for the Space Wolves. And Nell the Stormcaller. Actually, I'm so sorry. He's not a Wolf Priest, he's a Rune Priest. He's the librarian of the chief librarian of the chapter. Sorry, that is totally my bad. So Nell the Stormcaller, he's their guy. Now, the comparisons that I have here, they do not take into account the Limardes, Askarath, and the Sanguinor sculpts, which is definitely, excuse me, which is definitely a mistake uh, that was made with these comparisons. And I'm sorry, they're not my comparisons. I got them off the internet. But again, Askarath was fine. Sanguinor could have been better. Limardes looks a little weird with his pose and his ball gag and everything. But just look here, right? Nell the Stormcaller, he has tons of detail on him. It's not even funny, you know. Like here, I'll try to zoom in a little. I'll adjust it. He has so much detail on his armor, and it's not even funny. Just like everything about him just screams Space Wolves. Whereas you look at Lamarties, you know, um, he doesn't really have that much detail. The Blood Angel's captain himself doesn't have that much detail. Like you look at the sculpts, like at a base level, it doesn't really matter whether it's a named character or a generic character, right? Like the best thing about this guy, the Blood Angel's captain, is his shoulder pad, his chain sword, the his right shin below the knee pad, and his infernal pistol. That's really it. Whereas you look at Nell the Stormcaller, he has runes on his armor. His the vam braces on his wrists. They are sculpted and they have runic symbols on them. He's got his cyber familiar, the crow, the raven, whatever. You know, another guy with a wolf pelt on him, and just like there's just so much detail, right, in this one character than is in both of these Blood Angels characters combined. And then, on the flip side, you also further look at the other character that they reveal, who is Arjak the Rockfist. Now, this guy, he commands the honor guard for Logan Grimnar. He's his champion, his bodyguard, chief bodyguard. Arjak Rockfist. A freaking amazing sculpt. I don't know how the current sculpt looks, but this guy is pretty freaking badass. Once again, all those damn details, and he even has this optional assembly on him where he's modeled with his one of his actual in-game mechanics, which is he can throw his hammer at somebody, and then he presses a button on his armor, and the hammer just teleports back to him. It's pretty amazing. The optional assembly looks dope as hell. But it's like, again, just compare the details. Excuse me. Again, this is such a travesty. I really I struggle to believe that the powers that be at Games Workshop, whether they're in management or even the sculptors themselves, they decided that the Blood Angels characters they were making were fine, whereas the spaceful characters were also fine. And you put them next to each other, and they think, yeah, it's good. These miniatures are made years in advance, right? It's not like GW saw the big backlash against from the Space Wolves range refresh last year, and then they decide, oh, we gotta just do something and we got to hurry up and we got to redesign all the space wolves and everything. These things are plastic. They're made in plastic molds. Plastic molds are expensive as hell, which is why they have a lower cost, but these kits stay for a really, really long time. Whereas for the resin, excuse me, whereas with the resin stuff that GW puts out, the molds are cheaper, but uh the kits are more expensive because they don't expect to sell as many of them, so they adjust the cost accordingly. So that's the interplay between plastic and resin. So I mean, I'm just flabbergasted, man. I don't know really what to say about this. And here we come to it, right? So once again, we're gonna compare Arjack Rockfist and the new Wolfcut Terminators to the Sangre card. So let me blow it up again for you so you have a better comparison here. Just look at it. What is the sculpted detail on the Sangre card? They have a gem in their chest plate, and that's it. The gem on the chest plate. Whereas you compare them to the firstborn Sangre card that we used to have, and this is frankly embarrassing in comparison. Whoever sculpted these, whoever okayed these, you know, honestly, you guys should all feel ashamed of yourselves. You thought that the Sangre Guard were fine, and you pushed them out, and then a year later, you're pushing out these amazing sculpts for Wolfguard Terminators, the amazing sculpts for all the new characters, or all the refresh characters that the Space Wolves are getting. You think this is all okay? Like, I am having a serious crisis of trust with GW right now. I've always held that GW designs amazing plastic models, and one of the reasons that they do plastics because they can, and GW charges so much is because of the amazing details and the amazing sculpts and everything. But this is just like, yeah, so some guy management's like, yeah, so we need a Blood Angels refresh. I need ideas, guys, and no one really wants to do it. So they're just like, oh yeah, Mr. XYZ, you are the one who gets a job. And he doesn't really care, he or she or they don't really care either. And just come back and like, yeah, this is it. Just phoning it in. And guy in management's like, excellent. You know, no. Once again, I'm ashamed to see these models. And I'm ashamed that GW thinks so little of Blood Angels players that they thought we would just, accept this. No, the Dark Angels got a new unit. They lost a few units, yes, but they also gained a new Primaris unit. Blood Angels didn't gain anything. We got a new Blood Angels captain character, but that is just like, it's just a captain, it's just the data sheets. Really, he just has fancy gear. Although he's just a regular captain, there's nothing actually special about him, you know? And the Death Company being what they are, the Sanguinary Guard being what they are, it's just like, it's such a huge downgrade. And, last year, it was such a big hubbub that, there were so many people in the hobby on social media who were like, yeah, the new ones look great. The Sanguinary Guard, they look great and everything. Whereas, just look at their poses. They look derpy. They look bad. Those weird tactical rock thingies that GLB put them on, they're bad. Their poses are all bad. They look bad. And people are just like, yeah, it's good that they don't have as many details anymore because, all those details made them inaccessible to an average hobby. So I'm like, they're supposed to be an elite guard unit. These guys are literally supposed to be the most blinged out in their entire chapter. They are the honor guards of the chapter master himself. They are a tradition that goes back to 10,000 years. They were the companions of the Primarch himself. And this is the best that they could do. And the explanation was just that, during the devastation of Bell, all the Sanctuary Guard died, except for like maybe one guy, and all the armor was lost and whatever. But again, Call made the Spaceful Terminators. He made the Deathwing Terminators. He made the all the models for the Black Templars. He couldn't do the same thing for Blood Angels, and more than that, the Blood Angels couldn't improve that. Are you freaking kidding me? Again, a chapter of literal artists, sculptors, poets. Just like wow, just blows the mind. It's like it's a fail on an actual, sculpting level. It's a fail on an actual, just like lore level. It's just a fail in every single way. And again, I really don't get it. You know, there are as mad as people were last year about the Blood Angels release, and the community was pretty much like split, right? It was probably like a 60-40 split weighing towards the people who didn't like the new models and everything because we lost our unique dreadnoughts and we gained one of them, the Death Company dreadnought, but that is once again it's just a standard Brutalis dreadnought with an upgrade sprue. It's disappointing. It's bad. You know, getting the Lamaris that we did, getting Astra that we did, getting the Sanguinor that we did, that doesn't erase the fact that our new Death Company Dreadnought, our new Sanguinary Guard, our new Death Company, they are absolutely trash looking. You know, I don't know what the hell GW's thinking. We are stuck with these models for like, at least like 7, 8 years or something, 10 years probably. And it's gonna suck big time. I am like not looking forward to seeing these on a gaming board at all in the future. And I am resolved as hell that I am not going to be buying these Sanguinary Guard at all. I'm just going to be plain happy with the ones that I have right now. I'm not going to rebase them. I'm not going to do anything. GW says use the base that came with the model. Mine are on 32s. They're going to stay on the damn 32s. I'm just going to use these. Um, I'm just going to use my own firstborn whenever I need to. And it's just like, again, it's just like so disappointing, man. Like, I really hate where GW has put us with this. The Space Wolves range refresh is the best Astarte Space Marine refresh that GW has done in the last 10 years. And, I'm counting all the loyal Space Marines in that, whether it's all the Primaris stuff we got, all the refresh characters that we got in 8th edition with the 2.0 codex, or all the new stuff they put out in 9th edition, or even anything in 10th edition. And it's all because of the blinged out aesthetics. That is such a cornerstone of GW design for 40K. And it is just sad that they lost that entirely with the Blood Angels. And like I said last year, I could stomach the Sanguinary Guard if they still had their wings. I would have taken that as a compromise that they keep the wings but they lose the other detail because that gave them such a unique silhouette. Whereas right now, their silhouette sucks. Like I said, the poses suck, and they just have the standard looking. Uh, they just have the standard looking Primaris jump packs. Whereas the first one, Sanguinary Guard, they actually had an entirely different version of jump packs on them. They had it was like Mark IV with the added the wings and everything. That was like super unique. Whereas this thing, it's not unique at all. it's yeah. So anyways, like, that is where we are with this, guys. I'm like, I really didn't want to be making this video, but I had to because then I wouldn't be authentic to myself. And, this is one of the reasons why I haven't really put something out on social media since I saw these yesterday. And because, I want to save my thoughts for this video. And I didn't want to put too much negativity out there. But yeah, Space Wolves, amazing refresh in a year of refreshes, right? Um, the Eldar got a superb refresh in January. The Emperor's Children got a superb refresh last month with a brand new Primarch model, so many different new characters, so many new units and everything, and it's fantastic, right? I don't know what else is going to come down the year. There's not a whole lot of books left to do, but yeah, the Eldar, the Emperor's Children, and the Space Wolves, like, my God, GW has it in them to do great things. So I have no idea why the hell they settled on these Death Company and these Sanctuary card. Like, I'll show you the Death Company again. You know, just look at that. It just boggles my mind that our Death Company are just standard assault intercessors and assault intercept jump packs plus an upgrade sprue. Whereas Space Wolves, they're getting unique sculpts. And like their Terminators are actually a completely different unit to all the other Terminator squads because their squads are mixed war gear. You can have assault Terminators in the same squad as tactical Terminators, and they have axes, they have lightning claws, shields, swords, storm bolter, assault cannons, everything. It's all in the package. It's like, wow, GW, somebody there, really hates Blood Angels. I don't know why, but that's the sense that we get. So, anyways, that's it for me, guys. I'll be linking all my other videos down in the description box. Just fair warning, they're also ranty. So if that's not something that you want more of, just avoid them. But if you do want to see my thoughts on the refreshes from last year, you can go there and you can see everything. So, anyways, that's it for me, guys. I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.